What's going on, it's the RapNerd, and continuing a tradition that I put in place myself. Every October, I talk about a Halloween movie in the franchise. Yes, the Michael Myers franchise. And here we are this year to talk about Halloween 4. Now, if you've seen my Why I Love Halloween series, I did part 1 and 2 for the first Halloween. And as I said many times, Halloween 78 is my favorite film of all time, period. Halloween 4 was the first Halloween film of the franchise that I saw. If for those who remember what cable was like when that was the only thing that you could watch, you were pretty much a prisoner to whatever was on TV, and you just had to watch it. And for whatever reason, back when I did see this, and even up into recent years, Halloween 4 is one that they play on TV a lot. And seeing this film first, it really sparked my love for the franchise a whole bunch, because there are some things that this movie does that set the trajectory for all of the movies afterwards. So to start off, I think the atmosphere for Halloween 4 is incredible. I think it gets the Halloween fall autumn feel down to a T from the opening sequence, just showing B-roll of the northwestern terrain and decorations up blowing in the wind. Like, I think that was brilliant. And just watching documentaries on all these movies, I saw that one of the things that the director wanted to really do with this film was amplify that feel of Halloween and autumn, because I feel like all of the movies prior to this one, they were kind of just focused on the story and making great movies, which they were. But if you look at Halloween 78, the trees are green as hell. There's no foliage. They have a few leaves blowing here and there, and there's pumpkins. And even with the trick-or-treating aspect, they only show one little piece of trick-or-treating in the middle of the day, just to kind of help with that atmosphere of Halloween. But it's not super duper heavy in the Halloween. Neither are 2 or 3. It's just pretty much decorations here and there. But this one, everything that you expect from fall is 100% there. It's cold outside. I mean, at the nighttime scenes, you can see the smoke come out of all of the characters' breaths when they talk. Sweaters, long sleeve shirts, flannels, costume. The trick-or-treating scenes are so great and really bring that feel of Halloween. Everything is decorated. There's foliage here. They go to costume stores. So everything involving the holiday and autumn is just in this film. And for that reason, I really love this movie a whole bunch. This is one of those films that helped set me on the journey of being a horror fanatic and expand my love for Halloween, for the movies and the holiday itself. I also believe that this film is the film that Miramax should really pay attention to moving forward, because it was able to move forward without its leading legacy character, and that's Laurie. With characterization, it's the way it's written. I mean, if you've never seen any of the Halloween movies prior to this, like I was as a kid, it sets the tone for the whole franchise, even if you haven't seen it. You know, that opening sequence when they're transporting Mike with the rain and the thunder, and they're talking about why Mike Myers is there and why they're transporting him so late at night. Yes, the dialogue is a bit clunky, but I feel like though it's clunky, it gets the job done. It works because I could see this kind of conversation actually happening. You have people transporting, wondering like, why are we taking this guy at 12 o'clock? What happened? And then you have the guard explaining everything. Just off of that sum up of what happened in the last 2 movies, excluding Season of Witch, because that's not Michael. It creates the tension right then and there, and you understand everything about Michael that you need to understand. And then after the conversation happens, it leads right into Michael going ham. So you're like, okay, I get it. Michael Myers is a psychotic guy who does not play around at all. The beginning of the film, doing a recap was very smart, even though, like I said, it can come off a bit heavy-handed and like a expositional dump. I think you have to do that for this film, because I think they wanted to reel people back in. And from a person that didn't see the first 2 before seeing this one, it worked. Back to what I was saying about the legacy character, right? So you trade Laurie Strode in for Rachel, and I think what they did so well here is they gave us a character that was familiar to Laurie Strode, but gave her some differences in personality to make her feel more of a real person than Laurie was. You think about Laurie back in the 78 film, she was like a goody two-shoes. The worst thing she did, and I use air quotes because this isn't really bad to the majority of the world, but some people still think it's bad, is she smoked a little weed. I mean, who had to smoke a little weed? You know what I'm saying? Other than that, though, she was a super goody two-shoes, whereas Rachel here, she still has that girl next door appeal, but she has a little bit of teenage edge to her in the sense of she responds and reacts like how a real teenager would act. I mean, the beginning of the film, she is complaining about having to take Jamie trick-or-treating when she could be doing something else. That's something that Laurie did not do. Even later on, she's kissing her her boyfriend in the middle of the store. Like, Laurie's never did that. And even later, she was talking shit to the officer's promiscuous daughter, something again that Laurie didn't do all the way. So giving her that edge of goody two shoes, but also just want to be a teenage kid, just made her very, very relatable in a different type of way than Laurie. Another thing that they did was introduce us to a new character named Jamie Lloyd, who, of course, the link to Laurie being her daughter was a great move. You already have that instant connection to Laurie Strode. So that does a lot of work on its own. And then you really can hone in on the goody two shoes with her, which she did. She's an innocent kid just trying to live, and she didn't ask to be here. She didn't ask to be adopted. None of that stuff was put on her plate. And you really feel the sincerity in her, and incredible acting by Danielle Harris. I watch her performances in this film, and even 5, even though 5 is a bit her performance as a child actor is literally astounding. For her to be able to convey so much emotion with just her facial features and being able to project in a way to understand what she's feeling. Oh, fantastic job. And then of course you bring Loomis back in because he's one of the core pieces of these movies back then. So you have these 3 right here. And then you just include some other characters that you give enough to know what's going on with them, but we know who we care for most. And those 3 really drop the film. And really, it's not even Loomis, because even if you take Loomis out of the equation, the movie still is the same, because he wasn't given as big a part of the film as he was in 2 and 3, but he's still there to offer up his Loomis-ness to the film, which I still think works well here. Making it easy and streamlined of a story, Michael has returned to go after Jamie, because the link there is that he is Laurie Strode's brother, and he wants to kill off the whole family tree. So I feel like the concept is so simple, it's just straight to the point. I mean, you're back in the shoes of Halloween 1 and 2 with Michael stalking and running around going crazy. And Michael Myers offers us some pretty gnarly kills. Like, if you watch Halloween 1, 2, and then 4, it's like the level of grotesque violence in 4 is greatly kicked up compared to those 2. And I thought, and 2 went pretty hard, but this one went even harder. You know, it is definitely a child of the 80s because of the special effects and the amount of gore they use. And from what I saw in the documentary, a lot of the stuff in the movie was trimmed down to be less gory. So I can only imagine what the original cut looked like. I mean, at one point, Mike pulls a guy's neck off while he's driving. I was like, holy shit. And you're one of the best lines in the whole franchise.
Try that Halloween shit with me.
To go along with the violence, they make Michael Myers just a serious force here. The fact that Michael went to the Haddonfield Police Department and slaughtered everybody just expands on the myth of Michael Myers and how psycho crazy killer this guy is. It was a bloodbath, and I like that the on-screen kills are so ramped up and so crazy that when you're presented with an off-screen kill, you're not really tripping, because a lot of times off-screen kills can kind of kill the buzz about, you know, whatever entity is out here stalking people. But here, you've seen enough to know, like, oh, he could definitely do this. And I just saw him pull somebody's head off. I just saw him throw somebody into an electric field. I can totally believe that he just wiped everybody out. So that perspective of making Michael such a killer, in a sense, poisons the whole town. And I really enjoy what they did with that. You know, Michael returning sets Haddonfield on fire. You have people at the bar coming together as a lynch mob and try and stop Michael, and they even go crazy and end up killing somebody. And it gets funny because all of these seeds are planted in Halloween Kills, and I think that's why I really love Kills so much, because it takes a lot from this film and 2, of course, but just that mob mentality started here. I just think that it wasn't as in your face as Kills was, but it's here. All of that stuff is great, man, but the biggest standout disappointment of the film is the way Michael looks. This mask is not good at all. His suit isn't good. His posture isn't good. It is just like so much of an eyesore to see Michael like this. Again, I've gotten over it, and it doesn't like ruin the film completely because I still love the movie, but I just wonder what this film would have been like had he had the original costume and mask. I don't know why they tried to remake it. They should have just used the old school one. And it's even more damning because the poster has the original mask on it. I'm like, why did you do this? I can just imagine people walking in the theater seeing that poster and then seeing that. Like, I'm more than sure that made some people be like, what? Like those eyes are too big. He looks hollow in the worst way imaginable. He's walking around like this, and it's even more accentuated because he has shoulder pads, and it's just awkward as hell. Like, why did they go with that? But outside of that, though, Mike was still a force to be reckoned with. I think the third act is one of the strongest acts in the franchise, of them going to the house and the shit that he did. Again, them offspring kills. Had my man bent up in the corner with his eyes bleeding. God damn. Pushed Shorty through the wall with a shotgun. I don't know what the hell he did to Rachel's boyfriend, but I mean, the fact that he lifted him off the ground and all you hear is this cracking, and of course they cut because of the rating system, but all of that was great. The rooftop chase, going back to the school, and of course the pink mask. Don't know how that made it in there. Now I find it funny as hell, and I'll always look at it just to laugh. He throws Loomis through a window. Like, Michael was relentless in this film, so even with the visual look of him, film still works. So as I was editing, I just realized that I forgot a major point of why I love Halloween 4. It's the very ending. Seeing the poisoning of Michael Myers, like I mentioned earlier, poison his niece, and now she becomes Michael Myers, is one of the best and one of the most pivotal points of the franchise, period, because I think that this showcases what Michael's impact can truly be. The way that they went about shooting the scene, the way it was directed, to have the outro mirror the intro to 78. At that point, we didn't know if Michael was dead or not. And if I remember correctly, the directors was saying that this was supposed to be it. So we see Michael drop down into that hole when he gets blown away, and it's like the evil got transferred to him, to her. And that point to me just opens up a whole different world that you can do with the Halloween franchise, and it's something that I've been wanting to see explored fully. So I would really like to see the franchise go that route of having somebody else become Michael Myers and seeing what that's like, because I feel like there is a lot of space to play in that field with having a whole different person be Michael. And it all starts from the way they ended this film. Incredible ending, man. So I love it. Definitely say I love Halloween 4. This wasn't even really a review. This was just me talking about the movie. I just let mad spoilers go, but I can assume that if you're watching this film, you've seen Halloween 4 and you like it or love it just like I do. I really enjoy this movie for the nostalgia, and it's hard for me to rank the franchise totally because there are so many movies that I hold dear to my heart. Like, this one is a special one because of, like I said, it was the first one that I saw in the franchise, and it also opened up my eye for horror and the franchise itself and a holiday. And ironically, it was made the year I was born, so I don't make this stuff up, you know what I mean? So what do you think about Halloween 4? Where do you rank it? And what are your favorite things that you like about the movie? What are the things you don't like? And of course, be kind in the comments. This is all just for a fun discussion. No hate towards any of the crew writers. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want none of that here. So if you're going to do that, go somewhere else. And if you like this kind of content, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you already are subscribed, thank you. Until next time, peace.
RapNerd Productions, no capping, that's word to mommy.